Hello, and welcome. I was in the market for another palette and I found this little itty bitty guy on Amazon for about 15 US dollars. And I decided to go for it because it had exactly the amount of slots for my dot card colors. This company is new. They're called Bowerbird on Amazon, and they have a couple different options. They've got these cute ceramic palettes that are tin and ceramic, which is really cool. I may try these other products in the future just out of curiosity. The link to this palette and the other products will be in the description. And I am now an Amazon affiliate. So if you buy any of these things using my link, I will get a very small kickback, which helps my channel, it helps me in general. And so yeah, go check it out. This company looks pretty good. And so far, spoiler alert, I'm happy with my purchase. Okay, so here is the box it came in. It came just like this. I believe it was within another, no, it was shipped just like this with the logo on the front. And of course I covered my address because, yeah, I really enjoy the way they packaged this. I mean, look at these little styrofoam things are like meant for ceramic. Oh my goodness. I already could tell I love it. There's just something about ceramic. If you have not tried ceramic with your watercolor, just maybe go grab a plate from your kitchen or something and try mixing on it because it's very different. So this is about 8 inches by 5 inches roughly, and it's very small. It does have 18 wells. Unfortunately, the 2 in each corner are like, I wouldn't say half the size, they're a little bit smaller. It's got a low profile. Let's go pick out our tubes. So I'm just picking the tubes that are my dot card colors. And yes, I hang all my tubes, and yes, I have a lot. Okay, so we've got all of our colors here. And I am excited to fill this. I just wanted to mention, first of all, why I decided to get another palette, because as you know, I have a problem. And I have so many palettes. So, I mean, my Big Daddy Elephant in the Room palette, which, like, doesn't even fit in the screen, is my Stephen Quiller wheel 13 by 13 inch ceramic palette. This thing's a beast and I love it. It's my favorite palette. I use it the most. However, I'm teaching online. I'm doing a ton of workshops online and I am limited on view space. Like I can go up pretty high, but then people begin to lose the details of what I'm painting. So I wanted something where all of my palette will fit in the frame, and you also can see where I'm mixing. I still do end up using these as I teach. Ooh, they were wet. But I just needed something that fits all my dot card colors. This has 18 wells. It's perfect. There's 18 dot card colors. And it's so little and compact. So it's like 5 by 7-ish. Let's go back down here. And I did try to put a dot on the bottom. I was trying to see if it would like bump up, but it won't. And honestly, you could flip this over and mix in these wells. I don't know that that's what it's intended for, but I noticed a lot of this company's other palettes have this grid on the bottom. So I do need to find a solution because I'm not a fan. My desk is made of ceramic tiles and I'm not really a fan of this. It kind of bugs me. So on all my other palettes, I put furniture bumps on the bottom of them. This is my favorite thing to use. You can get them pretty much anywhere. So they're just little furniture, like cabinet door bumpers. And so, yeah, get yourself a pack of those. They'll last you forever. But I need to figure out a solution for this one. Because there's not a lot of area for putting... I could maybe get away with putting some dots of hot glue. I'll have to try that. Okay, before I actually fill any palette, listen up, because this is important to me. Especially if it's plastic or metal. I am going to clean it thoroughly. I usually will use something kind of abrasive. I'll use like baking soda and peroxide. I'll use toothpaste, magic eraser. I've used sandpaper before because even though it's ceramic, because it's new, it might have oils on it and it might bead up. So I could probably show you. Let me just grab a color and see. We'll just see. This is brand new. I've never cleaned it. Do you see how you kind of get some beading up on there? So it's really important when you get a brand new palette to go ahead and just take a minute and clean it out really well. I probably don't need to do a ton to this, but magic erasers are wonderful for getting rid of that kind of oiliness that's on here. So let me just take a moment to clean this and I'll be right back. I decided to kind of just do this in front of you. So this is not acetone. This is just rubbing alcohol. Acetone would work just fine. And I'm actually, because it is rubbing alcohol, I'm just going to go ahead and use a paper towel. I use these pretty sparingly in my studio. Let's get some on there. Now, if this was plastic, like I said, I would want to be a lot more abrasive about roughing up the surface. But over time, especially with ceramic, of time and use, it will not have a problem. But I really want my paints, my little paint dots I'm going to put in here to stick. So I'm going to make sure to just clean it all out really well. I also have rubbing alcohol in a little spray bottle. I could have done that. There's so many ways to clean a palette. I could do a whole video on how to prep a brand new palette. But all the other YouTubers have done that, so I'll leave it to them. Like everything I've learned and everything I've done, I've pretty much gotten from other YouTubers or other artists in some capacity. So sometimes I feel like I'm just reinventing the wheel. But I am putting my own unique Ashley spin on it. So take it or leave it. And there are things that I have discovered through trial and error quite a bit. So, okay, so I used rubbing alcohol. It's nice and clean and ready to go. I was kind of thinking it would be fun, rather than just filling a palette for a video, I think it'd be fun to use this as an opportunity to kind of go over my dot card colors while I'm doing this. So I went ahead and cut out a piece of my favorite paper. This, oh, it's got dirty. I must have got rubbing alcohol on it right there. It's fine. This is the Fabriano Artistico 300 GSM extra white soft press paper. Look at the texture. I love this paper so much. I do sell samples of it in my shop. So look in the description to check out samples of that. And you can also get my dot card free with it when you buy paper samples. So I'm going to use this as a little, I'm going to make like a little map. And I'm going to talk about each color as we go. I've got some little pre-made swatches here that I use for teaching. And we'll fill the palette and talk about each color. Sound good? Sounds good to me too. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to just make a little map. Normally I don't go too much into detail on these. I'm not trying to be perfectionist about this. Sometimes I just eyeball it. But for this one, I'll just do it while you watch me. Most everything I do, guys, I'm like winging it. Honestly, there's no like rhyme or reason to what I do, really. Because I'll tell you what, math is not my strong suit. Spatial reasoning is not my strength. I'm just doing the best I can here with what I've got. And what I do have is creativity, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Okay. Just want to show, actually, what am I doing? So satisfying. I love these things. So satisfying. I do want to go ahead and write the names before we even get started. I need to decide where everything is going. Ugh, see why I need little rubber thingies on the bottom? That is not my favorite. Okay, you know what I have done before? So this is a charcuterie tray from Walmart that I made into a palette, and it had the same issue. So I glued this like drawer liner stuff to the edge. So I'll probably do the same thing. Works really well, it's waterproof, and I don't have to have that scraping thing happening. I really think what I want to do is just start over here with my yellows, work into my reds and my browns till I get to the blues over here. Okay, here's my messy, janky card, and it's totally fine. Pretty soon I'll have this palette memorized, and I'll know where everything goes. This thing is like less than a quarter of the size of my big 13 by 13 palette, so I'm really excited about it. Alright, so the first color we have to put in a well is the fantastic Nickel Azo Yellow. And this color is insane. Oh my gosh, I missed it. I missed it. So I'm going to put down some of the intense color and then I'll wash it out. My ink is bleeding because it wasn't dry enough, so I'll have to wait a little bit longer for the ink to dry. So Nickel Azo Yellow is transparent. It is a 1 on the light fast scale, which is excellent. It is non-granulating. Let us put it in the palette. So here it is swatched out. It is so vibrant and so transparent. I love this color. It's a great mixer. I very rarely use it full strength by itself. So Nickel Azo Yellow is PY 150 for you pigment nerds out there. And for those of you that don't care about pigments or that makes you overwhelmed, I totally get it. Don't you worry about it. You do not need to know pigment information to be an incredible artist. And you can also be messy like me and still be a good artist. It's true. I'm going to clean that up because Nickel Azo Yellow, one thing you need to know about it, it's bossy. It will push all other colors out of the way and it spreads like crazy. So like I don't want this infiltrating other wells or we're gonna have a mess on our hands. It's so crazy because full strength kind of looks like duck poop or something. I don't know. Kind of looks grody, doesn't it? But man, is it pretty. Man, is it pretty. Okay. Let's go on to our second couleur of the day. And that is quinacridone gold. Let's compare the two. So quinacridone gold is also non-granulating. It's also transparent. It's also light fast. Actually, it says quinacridone gold is granulating. That's interesting because I thought quin gold was non-granulating. Let's look. Okay, so quinacridone gold has nickel as a yellow in it. Can you believe that? It has PO48 and PY150. So I might find that this is a redundant color on my palette, but I digress. Okay, so let's not get out of order here. Let's swatch it really quick. So quin gold. Such a pretty color. I really like quinacridone deep gold as well, and I couldn't decide. It was a really hard, all of these were really hard decisions. And I wouldn't say that I regret any of the decisions that I made about my dot card, but I will say that these are not the only colors I like. Okay, let's fill the well. Looks like I'm getting low. Oh no. If I'd stop filling palettes, maybe my paint would last longer, huh? Okay. Oh, I will show you, but there's a trick to when your paint is kind of squeezing out like really bad. You can squeeze these two sides and it'll suck back in. I'll show you in just a minute. So here's our quinacridone gold. I guess it does granulate a little bit, but for some reason I was thinking that the quinacridones did not granulate at all. I don't know why I thought that. But look at those two colors together. It's like sunshine. Kind of matches my shirt I'm wearing today, huh? That's more of a orange color. All right, now this is my answer. The next one on here is, I can't believe my ink is bleeding. Like, what is happening? It never does this. Hold on one sec. I think I know what it is. The color that I had in here before was this really pretty bright turquoise color, and I think I didn't wash it out enough when I put the black in, and so it kind of mingled with the black, and that's the green that we're getting. It's fine. Let's move on. Who cares, right? Okay, so this next color is transparent yellow oxide, and it's this right here. Transparent yellow oxide is PY42, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is my answer for a yellow ochre. It's really rich. It's really granulating. So I have all three of the oxides on my palette, on my dot card. And I don't like yellow ochre because of its, like, it's really opaque for me and it kind of dulls things down. I have since been trying some other colors. I like Monte Amiata Natural Sienna. I like Raw Sienna Light. There's so many great answers for yellow ochre, but what I have on my dot card is this one. So let's watch it and be prepared for some green ink to flow. It's fine. I'm just gonna like pretend I don't care. So here's transparent yellow oxide. A little bit of water on my brush there, huh? And I'll try not to touch the sides. I wanted to be able to go over the edges with these colors, but if my ink pen is running, then that's not good. I don't want every color to look like it has a greenish tint. We'll just go around it. How about that? I don't know why the thick lines aren't bleeding. Just the thin ones, huh? You know, I know that YouTubers, especially me, like we want things to look nice and we want things to go well and we want to look professional. But to be honest, like things have not been going well for me lately and I just have to roll with it. Like that's life. And it's not, the more I try to be perfect, the less perfect I am. So you get to see all of it. I am not going to pretend ever. Okay. Sometimes you get these little crusties around the edge if you don't clean it off, and I'm lazy, so I get lots of crusties. So let's go ahead and fill this. I'm not doing too much in each little well just because if I can work with fresh paint, then I like to. So sometimes it's nice before a session or a workshop to sit down and add some fresh paint, but I do have to remember that it's fresh because it can be really strong. So I don't know if you guys saw what I just did, but it was like up here. So watch this. Squeeze down at the bottom on the sides, and like magic, it will suck back in. I'm not going to tell you what that reminds me of. Okay. All right, moving right along. Our next color is beginning to move into the reds. And this is kind of my answer for like a burnt sienna. And I like burnt sienna. I have no problem with burnt sienna, but I wanted something with a lot of chunky granulation. And so that is transparent red oxide. And that is this color. And for the pigment nerds, it is PR 101, which is the same pigment number as like Indian red and Venetian red and all those other PR 101 type colors. So let's go ahead and swatch it. It's so funny. This was going to be a short video when I thought of it. I was like, ooh, I could make a short video opening this palette I bought. But it has, hopefully it'll be entertaining for you guys. All right, avoiding the sides. Yeah, that ink would have been totally impervious, but got to clean out your fountain pen. See, I'm still learning about all the fountain pen stuff. Got to clean it out completely before adding another color. So with swatching, I feel like swatching is kind of an art form, and I like to make sure that there's variation, and I love cauliflowering. So something I'll do, as you could just see, before it completely dries is I'll drop in a little more water to encourage cauliflowering. You totally don't have to do that. If you like smooth, even, perfect washes, great. But I just think it adds some interest and it makes the swatches look watercolory and pretty. Okay, let's fill. I keep forgetting almost to fill it. Let us feel it. I mean, look at that granulation. Isn't that beautiful? This is a great color for rust. If you're doing rust, some people do. I've done a rusty boat before. So sometimes when you first open it, it's coming out, and that's okay if you're filling a palette. But before you put the cap on, just make sure, see how it's like, make sure to give it a little squeeze at the bottoms. And yes, there's a little in the cap, but it's not worth fussing over. If it's squishing out of the cap, you probably want to get that and clean it off. Okay, our next color is very exciting color. It's another quinacridone. And it is quinacridone burnt orange. I love this color so much. And I only recently got it in tube form. So I've had it in stick form forever. And so now I have it in tube form, and this is also PO 48. So basically it's kind of redundant because quinacridone gold is a mixture of nickel azo yellow, and I'm not even showing you correctly. It's a mixture of nickel azo yellow and quinacridone gold. Or sorry, no, I said that wrong. Quin gold is nickel azo yellow and quin burnt orange. So it's a convenience thing. Yeah. When I was planning my dot card, I wanted to make sure I had some convenient type mixes on there. And so, yeah, It's redundant, but I enjoy having it at my fingertips. And quinacridone gold is just, you gotta have it. Okay, I want to make sure I get... These dot cards have a lot of paint on them. You'd be surprised. And for this one, this is the corner slot, so we get... The corner slot gets more swatch. Ironically, because the actual corner slot does not get very much paint. And that is a downside, for sure, to these little palettes that have the corner slots. I almost bought one that just had a grid, but I wanted mixing area. Okay, the only reason I'm drying it is because of the ink leakage situation. Normally I just let these dry naturally. Okay, the next color is quinacridone red, and this is my answer for a primary magenta. And gosh, I love this color. So quinacridone red is pigment PV19, so it's a violet pigment. And I do not use primary red in my mixing. So I actually use a magenta because you can get a primary red by mixing these two together. You get like the most beautiful fire engine red. So that way I still have the option to have magenta. And these two mixed together make beautiful tones for like a cat's nose. Sorry, I'm not even, you guys, I'm telling you, talking about nickel, azo yellow, and quin red making, or quinacridone red making a fire engine red together. So let's swatch that baby out, and then we'll fill the, oh, I gotta fill the palette with the orange. This is my life. Welcome to my craziness. Okay, it's a lot of things for me to remember, okay? Okay, let's swatch this. Okay, quinacridone red. See how it's like a magenta? It's not really red at all. But like I said, you can get red by mixing it with yellow. I'm not going to draw that out, I don't think. There you go. And then we'll fill the palette. I have a crimper for my tubes. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But it's like the best tool to get if you work with tubes. I think I just got it on Amazon. I tried all the other kinds of crimpers. There was like a toothpaste one and it has a key. Don't get the one with the key. Get the one with the teeth that crimps it like this. Because sometimes you don't realize how much paint is still in there till you crimp the tube. Okay. And then our next color is Potter's Pink. Let me get that droplet off there. I love Potter's Pink. Let us show you. Okay, here it is. This color is my go-to for tongues, for the insides of ears, for bloodshot eyes. It's great for so many things. That pink muzzle on a horse. Yeah, Potter's Pink is one of my favorites. When I first got it, I didn't like it because of how gummy it felt. It has a gumminess to it. You know what I mean? Like there are just some colors, they just feel kind of gummy. And that's just the nature of them. No matter what brand you get, they're all going to have that. So let's put that on here. I am now being a little more cautious to avoid the ink. I really wanted to be able to draw each of these out. And I can, but it just bugs me with that green ink. I'm not going to get over it. I'm going to draw this out a little bit. And then I'll dry it really fast. Okay. And this has really warm undertones. So as you start getting out into really light washes, it has a warm undertone. You just have to try it to see what I mean. Okay. So there it is. See how gummy it is? Yeah, I promise it's not a Daniel Smith thing. It's just a Potter's Pink thing. I think it has to do with the pigment itself. And obviously gum Arabic, but... Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting the lid back on. Potter's Pink, Pigment Information, Chrome Tin Pink, PR233. So there you have it. And quite obviously it is a granulating color. You really can't miss that. Okay, next we have, this is such a great color, Minnesota Pipestone. Minnesota Pipestone is kind of a warm, I don't know, like a pinkish brown. And like if you compare that to, say, like burnt umber, it's very pinkish. It might be appearing a little more vibrant on the screen than it actually is, but this is such a beautiful color. It's one of the Primatex, so it's a genuine. It is granulating, quite obviously, and it is so good for more of those like pink areas on an animal. So I use it for tongues and ears and noses and fur. I use it for all kinds of things. And it's just such a great color. So that's Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. Shall we swatch it? Okay, make sure you guys can see it. So some of these genuines have a little bit longer time to wake up when you first put water on them. It's just because of the nature that they are actual stone. And then, like I said before, I'll put like a little droplet of water just for funsies. And then sometimes I'll like dry my brush off and I'll soak some of it up just to see some variation in how light it can get, how good it lifts. Okay, pull this down here. I know how satisfying this is for you all, so I'll make sure you can see it. And we'll suck it back in. Okay. You guys have to tell me if you like this. Sometimes I don't make videos because I'm like, oh, that's going to be boring. But then I just try to remember all the hours I've spent in hospital beds and recovering from surgeries, watching other people do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, people do like this. So I'll just do what I used to watch, I guess. So this is my next one. I love this color. I've said that about every color. This is Piemontite Genuine. It's also a Primatech color from Daniel Smith, obviously. Oh my gosh. And this one has some fantastic granulation, and it kind of separates into multiple colors. This one also is great for tongues, mouths, all kinds of cool stuff. Love this color so much. All right, Piemontite. Just plan on me saying that for every color because it's true. Oh, I thought I left it alone and I didn't. Okay, so here's the color, and it just says Genuine Piemontite. Kind of like a maroony brown. All right, I'm gonna use a little water to spread that out. Since I can't draw it out like I wanted to. Let's get a little more. Get a little more pigment there, huh? Okay, let us fill up the palette. palette. Little poops. That's what they look like. Little poops. I have to be careful what I say because I am aware of a certain 4-year-old little girl who watches my channel, and she's my biggest fan, and I'm super lucky. But I try to watch what I say. Okay. Our next color is classic. This is Van Dyke Brown, and it's just like a deep, dark, rich, like dark chocolate color. And oh, it's so good. So good. So it works for so many things. Like if you need, like let's say you have a dog that looks black, but that it also has some chocolate in it, you can use this. And pigment. We've got PBR7. It's a blend of umbers and siennas. PBR7. And PBR7 is quite a common pigment, so. And I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Just because of the fact that I'm not spreading these out as far, I need a smaller brush. So here's Van Dyke Brown. All right. Let's get a little more water now. So the people have spoken. I asked in my last video if you guys like that I talk a lot and describe what I'm doing, and you all unanimously said, yes, please keep talking. So I will do that. And I'm kind of on board with that because when I watch videos, sometimes I'm like cooking or I'm cleaning or I'm doing other things. And so I treat it kind of like a podcast. And also I learn better when people explain their process and their thought process. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And if somebody gets annoyed by it, they can just leave, right? Right? Okay. I understand that I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Okay. This one is like totally stuck shut. And this color's such a convenience mix for me because I really can make this color by mixing like Payne's Gray and Burnt Umber, or like Payne's Gray. Sorry, Burnt Umber and Neutral Tint can make this color. But it is so nice to have it ready to go. No, I dropped the lid. Well, that helped me pop my back, so that was good. Okay, the next color on the dot card. Let's see. Okay, so this is interesting. The next color is another one of the oxides. This is transparent brown oxide. Look at that. Need I say more? Look at this color. So transparent brown oxide, here she is PR 101, just like the transparent red oxide. The reason that they're different, like some are red, some are brown, and some are Indian red, they're treated differently. So maybe they're heated, maybe they're burned, so they treat the pigments differently to get different tones out of them. So even though it's the same pigment, it has a different process that it goes through. So transparent brown oxide, that's swatchy swatchy. I actually skipped around on my dot card a little bit because I decided I wanted things in a different order. So there you have it. This poor brush. So I've had this brush since 2022, I want to say. This is the Polina Bright round brushes. And I love these brushes. They were kind of a gift to me when my pet portrait business was really taking off and I could invest in supplies. And honestly, like, I like them a lot. I just stopped using them for so long. When I started using silver black velvets, these kind of just got set to the side. And I have used the crap out of this poor brush. I need to get a replacement. But these are awesome brushes. So I've decided recently to pull them back out and play with them. It's all good. And I actually have a discount code for those. I am not an affiliate. I would love to be. I'm in the process of, I have applied to be an affiliate for Polina Bright, but I do have a 10% off code. So that will be in the description if you're interested. They're a good investment. All right, y'alls. I know you like to watch this poop out. I don't know why, but you do. That actually does look like a poop. Gross. I know I look like a classy lady, but do not be fooled by my appearance. Okay. Okay, and the next color is kind of a twin. This is burnt umber, and burnt umber, like, you just can't go wrong. Like, you gotta have burnt umber. And so this might feel redundant, but sometimes I don't want such intense chunky granulation. Sometimes I just want that softer leather-like granulation, and burnt umber is a little bit warmer and softer. So burnt umber is the one that I mix to get other tones. I use it by itself too. But a lot of people ask why I have both, and that is why. Sometimes I just want softer, and sometimes I want more intense, depending on what I'm painting. So here we go. Burnt umber PBR 7. There's that PBR 7 again. All right. I don't know about y'all, but I love the sound of like paintbrushes on paper and the way my brush feels on the paper, and there's just something beautiful about it for me. Okay, just take a moment and appreciate the granulation happening on these. Look at the piemontite. Beautiful. I would like to make a little water droplet over here and kind of get, that really encourages things to like separate and granulate. I love cauliflowers. Obviously there's a time and a place for them, but I love them. All right, let's see if we can make another little poop. We'll just pretend it's chocolate. It's looking pretty, man. I'm an earth girl. I am an earth tone girl. My favorite color is green. And if you've seen my website, you probably wouldn't believe that. But I love earth tones. And the reason my website is so like Starburst and Care Bears had a baby is because I just feel like I've got so much like earth tones and dull and like toned down that I needed to counterbalance that with some color. So that's why that's the way it is. Okay, our next color is one of my favorite colors on the dot card. It's Hematite Genuine. Elephant Skin. This is a great mixer. I use this with burnt umber to replicate fur that has like flecks of black in it. I will use it for noses. Oh my gosh, this color. It has a warm undertone, as you can see. And it is magnetic. Those are like little, like if you ever played with an Etch-a-Sketch, That's like what's in an Etch-a-Sketch. Little magnet flakes. How cool is that? Bet you didn't know that. Or you probably did. It's fine. So hematite is a Primatech color. Hematite genuine. Genuine hematite. Granulating, of course. And let's swatch it. This one does take a second to wake up, but when it does, and when you first put it down, you're like, oh, wah wah, and then the magic starts to happen. Once you put down like these really granulating pigments, once you put them down, try not to keep touching them because you really want them to settle the way that they are naturally intended to settle. I've got some bleedage over here that I need to deal with. Just a second. I'm going to pretend that that ink is not bugging me. And then to encourage a little bit more, you can drop in a little water. But it's already happening. Look at that granulation. Can you tell I like granulation? I do. I really do. That's because I paint animals. And it's very fitting. So this poor little hematite gets to go in one of these tiny corner slots. And that's okay. Doesn't mean we love it any less. Just gets to be cozy over here in its little corner. Look at that. Look at that cozy little blob. And we're going to suck it back in the tube. Man, my tube lids are dirty. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Clean them off. Okay. We're almost there, sort of. Okay, my next color, guys. This is such a go-to color for me. And sadly, maybe I'm out of it. Hold on one sec. Alright, you guys. I am going to grab some scissors. We're going to do some surgery here. I do have neutral tint in like 4 sticks worth of it. Or like a couple sticks. I probably have 2 or 3 sticks of neutral tint because that's how I like to use it. I could just cut off a piece of stick like that and throw it in there. But I might as well use the rest of this tube. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Waste not, want not, they say. So this is the tube squeezer. I'll see if I can find it on Amazon and link it. And you just roll it through like that. And it squeezes all the paint up to the top. And we might be able to... we're going out of order here. It's fine. Let me swatch it. I've got to stay... We've got to have some rhyme or reason here, guys. It's going to get out of control. So neutral tint is my go-to for black. I use it for the black parts of eyes, like the pupil and the eyeliner. That's what we call it. We call it eyeliner on animals. It's my replacement for black. Now it does have a black in it. It has lamp black in it. So be aware of that if you decide to use this. But there's just, it has nuanced. It's nuanced. Like it's, yes, it has black in it, but it also has a violet. And let's see what else. PBK6, which is lamp black. It's got quinacridone violet, PB19, and a phthalo blue, PB15. So it's a combination, excuse me, it's a combination of a couple different colors, and I love it so much. Okay, here we go. So we're probably going to have to cut this tube open and do surgery, but let's see what we can get. Did you see how it sucked back in? So now what you have to do, once you get up to here and the tube squeezer can't do any more, you have to fold it over like this. So you fold it over. That's quite a bit. So don't throw your tubes away when they get to that point, because you're wasting like a whole pan of paint here. Make sure you fold it over and get what you can out of it. And then you can open it back up like this. Pull it and cut it. Try to cut as far up as you can. This is a little messy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna put the lid on just so that it doesn't like try to squeeze out there. Okay, now this can be sharp, so be warned, be careful. I've got my little palette knife here, and we're just gonna do a little surgery. We can get quite a bit of paint. It's gonna be messy. I wanted this to be pretty and perfect, and it almost was, but then I decided to be crazy. It's okay. Perfect doesn't exist. Okay, and you can actually paint from that if you need. You can actually like grab a brush that you don't care as much about, or just be careful because it's sharp. You don't want to cut your brush up. And you can actually pull quite a bit of paint out of there. I'm going to go ahead and put this paint in my other palette because I think that's plenty of paint for this little corner dude. We'll just squash it down. And then this will go in my graveyard. I have a graveyard of tubes. Do you want to see it? Okay, here's the tube graveyard. I'm going to show it to you. It's where tubes go to die, because I cannot throw a watercolor tube away. See? And it goes in. Let's clean this up a little bit, shall we? I just don't want it leaking into the other wells. This video is going to end up being like 3 hours long. I was like, I'll make a quick video opening my new palette. You guys don't mind, do you? Alright, that should be fine, right? I can leave it like that. Okay, neutral tint. Oh, itchy. I'm probably getting paint all over my face. Okay, next color is Payne's Gray. Oh my gosh, Payne's Gray, great color, go-to color. By the way, I didn't show you the swatch for neutral tint. There it is. And this is a perfect time to show you in comparison to Payne's Gray. Can you see the difference? So neutral tint's non-granulating. This is a little bit of cauliflowering, but it does not granulate. Payne's Gray, on the other hand, has some beautiful granulation. It's very similar to the burnt umber granulation in that it kind of has a leather effect. But Payne's Gray is such a great color to have on your palette. Used alone, it's kind of like a cool gray. You can mix it with burnt umber and get some darker brown colors. You can neutralize it with burnt umber or something else. You can mix burnt sienna with it. Anyway, Payne's Gray. And I actually have a student who uses Jane's Gray instead. And Jane's Gray is a mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. So you can make this color or something similar with burnt umber and ultramarine. And let's see, let's grab the tube and let's swatch this baby. I really like Payne's Blue Gray as well. It's just a lot cooler than Payne's Gray. But I can make it by adding like ultramarine to it, which is also on my dot card. Sorry if I keep being out of screen. I'm still kind of new to this, guys. Okay. That's pretty. So pretty. Payne's Gray. It's like a stormy day. Okay, let's put it in the palette. Payne's Gray, Ultramarine Blue, Ivory Black, which is PBK 9. So basically, yeah, Ivory Black and Ultramarine. Good to know. I'll tilt this so you guys can see. There you go. I hope that was satisfying for you. I love making palettes. It has been a problem, and I actually haven't made a palette in a long time, so I'm okay doing this. I'm just really excited to have a palette that will fit within my filming area. And it'll look pretty. Okay, next we're heading into the blues a little bit more. Sodalite Genuine, also a Primatech color. Look at that. It's got like some black specks of granulation, and it's blue undertones. Very beautiful color. And I'm almost out of this too. So there you have it. Let's swatch it. Make sure we're on the screen this time, huh? Such a deep, rich, dark color in mass tone. Look at that. Well, let's wash it out with some water. I love swatching. Okay, let's put it in the palette. Just take a moment to appreciate what's going on here. Look at this. So pretty. All right, let's get this in here. I have clips on all my tubes. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's because I hang them. And this is doing something weird. Like paint is getting on me somehow. Hold on one sec. Filling palettes can be messy. Just know that. Just can. Okay. Oh boy. Let's use the tube squeezer, shall we? Gotta take the clip off to use the tube squeezer. I'm gonna just turn this over so you guys can see. And you gotta be ready. This is an art form. Let me get my palette knife ready to scrape that little poopsie. Okay. Okay. I need to take a note. I keep a spreadsheet of the colors that I run out of or are getting low. because I never want to get to the point where I'm completely out of something. That would be horrible. That would be so horrible. Okay. Let me fix this. This is how I do it. I just get a brush that's wet, and I think that is the Payne's Gray running over into this side. Where's my paper towel? It's good to have a paper towel nearby when you're filling a palette. All right, it's not perfect, folks, but we're not here for perfect. If we were here for perfect, we would not be on my channel. Okay. Next color is kind of a fun one. It's one of Daniel Smith's newer colors within the last couple of years. And it is King's Royal Blue. This color actually has phthalo blue and, let's see, ultramarine, phthalo, and white, PW4, zinc white. So I don't often like the more opaque colors, but I needed like a milky blue for the highlights in eyes. They're often reflecting the sky. And so the eye highlights sometimes will be a cloud, like you'll actually see kind of like a blue sky with clouds. And so this is my answer for that. Obviously you could use washed out ultramarine, but like I said, I like having colors that are just ready to go in my palette. And so I had to choose between this and lavender, and I chose King's Royal Blue because you can add a little bit of quinacridone red to it and get lavender. So, or wisteria as well. So let's swatch it before I open it. King's Royal Blue. It's kind of one of Daniel Smith's more like pastel-y colors. So like I said, lavender, wisteria, and King's Royal Blue are like the pastel triplets. I need to do a video where we mix my dot card so that I can show you in real time how I make those mixtures that I just talked about. But honestly, my dot card, I didn't intend it for mixing. I really intended it to be kind of a go-to palette with everything you need. But you can make, like, green is my favorite color, but it's nowhere on here. We can make green by mixing nickel as a yellow and ultramarine blue, or vice versa with the King's Royal Blue. So let's add the King's Royal Blue to my palette. That's how my Italian friends say palette. I just really love it. Palette. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. I'm just going to squeeze this up a little bit. You don't want to squeeze too high up because then when you open it, it kind of like has a explosion. Oh, geez. Open it over something else than the palette if it's crusty. Okay, so I am going to use a palette knife to get that out here in just a second. But first, let's get this out. And I'm going to clean that off too. Just using a paper towel. If you leave paint around the lid, you get the crusties. And it's not fun when you're trying to fill a palette and these crusty chunks are falling out into other colors. So this is how I do it. I like this tiny palette knife. I didn't even buy it. I think it came with like an art kit. I got my son when he was like 9. He's 19 now. So anyway, yeah, I've never bought palette knives, but I use them so much. They're like my go-to studio tool. I should get a nice set. Maybe I'll ask it for a nice set for Christmas or something. Just gonna kind of get rid of that. Okay. And our final color, I already mentioned it, so it's no surprise. Ultramarine blue. It's a classic color. It granulates. It's just perfect for mixing. You just can't go wrong with ultramarine. So I actually don't use it a ton by itself. It does end up being more of a mixer for me. But when I'm doing animals, I don't use a lot of blue unless I'm doing like a parrot or something. But lately I've been doing a ton of dogs. Dogs have been huge. So yeah, like I did a cat and I was worried I was going to lose half my followers because they were like all dog people. And I'm both. I have both cats and dogs. I love them both. Cats are jerks. I'll just say it. But they're so soft and fluffy. We forgive them because they're so soft and fluffy. Ultramarine. Man. It's just beautiful. I really like cobalt blue too. Look at that. Look at that. I did do a live stream about my dot card back when I first started my YouTube channel. So you can go check that out. You have to go to my live section. All right, one last thing to put in the palette and we are finished. Sorry that noise. Oh. Okay. Okay. Now we squeeze the sides. Pull it back, baby. I'm going to scrape this out into my other palette. Because I am running low on ultramarine in this other palette here. And like I said, I didn't get this because I'm unhappy with my color wheel palette. I love my big palette. It was the first big purchase I made with money I made from pet portraits back in like, I think it was late 2020. And so it's very special to me. I paid like $100 for it. And then like a month later, Meeden came out with their half price one. And I was like, whatever. But it is a copy. They did copy the Stephen Quiller wheel palette. So keep that in mind when you buy from some of these less expensive companies, that you may be getting a knockoff and you may be getting product that is inferior. I don't know that the Meeden palettes are inferior per se, because I do have a couple of like their ceramic products. But I'm really liking this Bowerbird ceramic palette so far. It does seem thinner, like you can actually see through it, kind of. Like you can see the grid underneath. But it's not a big deal, and I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to have this in the frame. Excuse me, in the frame. Like, look, it's the same size as like my paintbrush. So I'll be able to do my workshops and have it right here. It's going to be great. You know what? Why don't we play? Why don't we play? Just a little bit. I'm going to turn myself off, my face off, so that you only see my desk. That will be much better. Okay. I love this. This is great. Let's scooch it up. All right, I am once again working on my favorite paper, the Fabriano Artistico Soft Press. And let's do some mixing. Okay, I'm going to be messing up my gorgeous new palette, but we got to do it sometime. You might as well be part of it. I'm moving up to a size 1, which these are quills. So the size 1 is like equivalent to like a size 12. First, I want to show you greens. So to mix greens, I'm going to mix nickel azo yellow and ultramarine blue for starters. Now, this nickel azo yellow is really strong. Like, really strong. It will blow any other color out of the water. So I could put down ultramarine first, just for example. I'll show you what happens when I put some of this nickel azo yellow in. Okay, you ready? Did you see that? It is so intense and it just pushes everything else out of the way. And I believe that's because it has a lighter particle and so it moves easier. It's pretty scientific. So let me just show you the mixtures here. So we'll start with more of the blue. And we'll just work our way green. How does that sound? I'm just getting ready. So we'll just keep grabbing more. There we go. Now we're getting into it. There's a nice green. It almost has a more olivey tone to it, doesn't it? Look at that. Put a little more green to that one. And there you go. There's some fun greens you can get. And you can also do King's Royal Blue. Now, because this has white in it, it's going to be more of an opaque green. Look at that bright yellow. It's crazy. All right, so we'll start over here. Work our way this way towards yellow. It's one of my favorite mixing styles. Oh, I think we skipped a shade there. Okay, and then you can also use ultramarine blue and quin gold for some really pretty olive greens, which is my favorite color. So let's get some of that beautiful rich quin gold in here. And this time we'll start with the quin and work our way towards the blue. It's already starting. I'm going to add a little more Quinn and see what we can get. Oops, that was Nicolazzo yellow. Doubt. It is easy to contaminate your yellow. It really is. So you have to be kind of careful. Well, let's start fresh. But look at that Quinn Gold by itself. Isn't that gorgeous? Some really pretty greens here. And they granulate. That's the fun part. Look, we've got some fun stuff happening there. Well, the only downside to a tiny palette mixing area is that you have to clean it between colors. And that's why I have my little mixing pots. Because when I'm doing a project, I need to have all my colors ready and mixed together. Or I need to have a big puddle of them. But for mixing, this is fine. Okay, look at that. It's bleeding. Okay, I want to show you what happens, how I can get like lavender and wisteria tones. So I'm going to start with my King's Royal Blue. And I'm going to add just the tiniest touch of quinacridone red. And there you have lavender. And then we can also do a little more. That's more lavendery. And we can start heading into wisteria territory. Let's compare to the originals though. Got my dot card. These are my Danielle Smith dot card, like the full 266 color set, and I cut it into strips of 12s and put a little ring bind on it. Well, we got pretty close to wisteria. So here's our wisteria, and here is actual wisteria. Got pretty close. And then let's look at, gosh, I'm making a mess. These quill brushes sometimes will grab, like water will hang out on the barrel, so you have to be careful. And then this is lavender. I'm out of lavender on the dot card. So, I'll just show it to you. We got fairly close. Fairly close. Maybe a little bit less on the red. What is all over me? Oh my gosh, what is happening? Maybe like that. I don't, guys, I don't know what's happening. Oh my heck. Do you ever do this? Like, you don't know where it's coming from and it's just getting everywhere. It reminds me of Ernest Goes to Jail when he's doing jury duty and the pen, he's chewing on his pen and his pen explodes. That's how I feel right now, because like, what is happening? Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what just happened, but okay. We're just gonna go with it, as I always say. Okay, something I want to do really quick before these dry is give a little spritz into each well, because I don't want them to dry as perfect little poops, as we called them earlier. I want them to try to spread out a little bit in the well. I could force them to, but that's messy. That's super messy. think this little palette's going to be great for teaching, maybe. Hopefully. I mean, if anything, I could just mix in my little pots. I could probably fit 4 pots on this. And these are nice because I can pick them up. So this is what I usually do. These are from Hobby Lobby. They're like little condiment bowls. I never use things for their intended purpose. Okay, I want to show you how I mix like a fire engine red. So here we've got our magenta color, which is quinacridone red. And on paper, it's like that. And when you spread it out, you can easily see that it's magenta. Okay, let's add a little bit of the nickel azo. Ready? Look at that. So the nickel azo bosses everybody around. A very pushy color. And now we've got kind of an orange color. So let's add a little more magenta back in. Mixing is so much fun. And now we're talking. Look at that red. Compared to the just straight magenta. I often wonder why quinacridone red is called red when it's more magenta. I don't know, I'll have to ask. I would love to be part of naming paints. Okay, so this is what I like to do as things are drying. I'll even dip my hands in my bucket and just flick it like that and make things go crazy. Because it's fun. You should try it sometime. I'm just cleaning out my little pot here. It's easier to do, to clean things out when I can just tip it over my bucket of water. All right, let's make some more greens. Let's try some Sodalite Genuine. Look at that. Beautiful. So Sodalite by itself is very deep, dark, moody blue. Let's do Quin Gold, just for kicks. Ooh, guys. Did you see that? Let's add some water to that. Spread it out. Look at that color. I sound like my teenage daughter doing her streaming on her little YouTube channel. Guys. Just kidding. She doesn't talk like that, but she does say guys a lot. All right, let's add a little more. It's turning like a moss green. I have never tried this combination. Why have I never tried it? Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, you gotta try this. If you have my dot card or you have these colors, please stop what you're doing and try quinacridone gold and Sodalite Genuine. That is so pretty. Let's flick some water on it, shall we? Look at that. Ooh. It's like moss. I love that. I'm gonna grab another pot. I have like 50 of these. I buy them in packs of 5. And every time I go, I buy another one. I love them that much. They're just so easy, and then I can like set them aside with colors in them and use it later, rather than having to wipe it off the palette. What should I mix next? Should we make purple? Quinacridone red. That's a lot. I'm not used to working with wet paint right from the tube, so you'll have to bear with me on this. Whoa. Look at that. Oh. Look at that pretty color I just made. Oh my goodness, that's stunning. We're running out of paper space and I can't really turn the page, so I'm gonna grab a scrap paper here. Look at that purple. Oh. And this like maroony, magenta, violet-y color here. Let's let them mix and mingle. They're so pretty. Quinacridone red, ultramarine blue for the win. All right, what else could we try? We have done, let's try Quin Gold and Quin Red. And Quin Gold. This is gonna be more of like, whoa. Look at that color. So that's like a really red. But if we want it to be more orange, like fire. Look at that. Pretty. I'm making a mess. So here's Quin Burnt Orange, I think. No, this is Transparent Red Oxide. Look at that in mass tone. Stunning. What if we add Quinacridone Gold to it? Oh my heck, that's so gorgeous. It almost just kind of lights it on fire. That way you're adding like that chunky granulation. Oh my gosh, my paper is totally buckling. It does that, you know, paper buckles. It's part of the deal. Wow, you wouldn't have thought my dot card could do that, huh? You didn't even know, but now you do. All right, well, if you guys have any requests of like color mixes I could do, hit me up. I would love to acquiesce to your request. And yeah, so this is my first review on my channel, and I have to say, this is worth it. I only paid 15 bucks or so for this. It came really fast. It was shipped beautifully, packaged nicely. It's a nice little palette. I mean, look, it's like tiny. It's little. Perfect for if you have limited desk space. I highly recommend it. And 18, you can't beat 18 because that's what I have on my dot card. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this little unboxing and review and swatching. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this. You can check out the link for it in the description. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. Happy painting!